Okay, welcome. Welcome to Musescore, part 2 now, task 2. Your task is to compose your own chorus based on the Who's That Girl bass line. So first of all, let's go through what we did in task 1. Here it is. Should have all done this already. What you will notice from this song, Who's That Girl, is Guy Sebastian uses a lot of repetition. So if you check out this melody, the first line is the same as the second line. We'll call that section A. So I'm just going to put a little tag here, section A. The next line is the same, so it's another part A. The third line, it's very much the same. There's one note which is different. Hopefully you spotted that last week. This is also section A, but the last line is quite different. So we'll call that section B. Guy Sebastian, when he wrote this song, he used the structure AABB form. So if you hear it, and you can replay it if you want, the first 3 lines sound very similar, the last line sounds quite different. Your task in your composition is, you've got to choose a structure. You can choose what he did, which is AAAB, or you can do different combinations. There are 4 suggested here that you can use. I'm going to choose AABA for my one. So I'm going to go ahead and start by labeling what the sections are. Now, to do a label, I use Ctrl and M. That's actually a rehearsal mark. So it just tells you whereabouts you are in the music. It doesn't affect the sound of the music at all. So you can go ahead and do that. If you want, you can go back click and go to rehearsal mark. That works as well. To do rehearsal marks, you do need to select a region so that it knows where to put that. We're doing AABA, so first of all, label your sections. That way you know what you want to compose. Alright, now step 2. Oh, I missed out step 2 here. Make up some lyrics which fit with the melody and add it to the melody line. Alright, now with any song, with any chorus, you need a melody. You need words for it. I'm just going to put my name here first. Cool. So, when I was thinking about lyrics, I'm looking for something with 4 lines. The first tune that came up to my head is the Humpty Dumpty little rhyme. And I did a variation on it because I was thinking, well, what's the deal with Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall? That's a pretty silly scenario, isn't it? So I wrote up this following 4 lines of lyrics. Dear old Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Dear old Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty should have followed school rules. Then Humpty Dumpty wouldn't look like such a fool. So that's the lyrics that I'm going to be using. You make up your own. That's a task and a half. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully you can come up with something nice. But that's my one. I'll just leave that on the bottom corner so that I can refer to it when I need. Okay. No, I don't. Yeah, that should be right. Cool. So now it's my turn to come up with a melody. When you compose your own melody, feel free to just experiment, see what you can come up with. I'm going to suggest doing some jumps. Here's the melody that I came up with earlier, by the way. So I usually like to include some jumps. I usually like to include different rhythms. So now, after some jumps, it's worth moving by step. Whoopsies. So that's my one, and I'm going to add a tie. If you want a note to be held longer, you can tie it to another note, so that this note becomes worth 1.5 beats there. So that's my rhythm. Now, as we know, the next line is the same. So I'm going to just go ahead and paste that. We may modify it later, but that's going to be the same. Next up. This is section B, so it's going to be quite different. Before we do that, I'm just going to start adding words to make sure that my words fit in with the melody that I've just come up with. Ctrl L is for typing in lyrics. Dear old... Now, the word Humpty, or the name Humpty, has 2 syllables, so you're going to have to break the word over 2 notes. To do that, after writing out the first syllable, press the minus sign or the hyphen, so that when you read it, you will see it goes across 2 notes, not just one. Okay, make sure your words line up with the notes. Once again, dumpty, same thing. You need to add a little hyphen there. Okay. Cool, so that's the first bit. Let's go on. The next section is going to be contrasting. It needs to sound quite different. So instead of doing this contour, this melodic contour where I've got a jump at the start and walking by step down and then up, I'm going to change it up, make it sound quite different. I'm going to use more repeated notes. I haven't used many repeated notes yet, so let's do that. I'll just use quavers. I might change it later. I want to start with C. Now, since it's talking about falling, I'm going to have a falling melody, a descending melodic contour. So let's have a look. C, A, F, D. Let's jump down by 2s. And then, let's do that. Okay, so my middle line becomes Humpty Dumpty should have followed school rules. Humpty Dumpty should have. Let's change these into crotchets. You will see that the rhythm of this different line is quite different to the rhythm of the first 2 lines. First 2 lines we've got long notes at the start, then a bunch of quavers. This one we've got the quavers in different places. The last line's going to be similar, so let's just copy that and put it down here. Whoops. Yeah. But we might change it up a bit so that it's not exactly the same. Okay. I'm going to start from over here. I'm going to add a little upbeat. If you want to add an upbeat, then Humpty Dumpty, the then would go in the previous bar. So I'm going to go ahead and add a note here. Then Humpty Dumpty wouldn't look like such a fool. That looks fun. Okay, whoopsies. There we go. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and type those lyrics in now. Okay, be careful with your hyphenation. Any word which has more than one syllable needs a hyphen. School rules. And if there's a word where you can see I've got 2 notes but I only want 1 syllable through it, you can press the hyphen button as well and it will help you just skip ahead. Then, whoopsies. Just bear with me. Okay, the word such, I want that word to go across 2 notes. Such a fool. So I'm going to go ahead and put a slur here. There we have it. So there's my tune. Dear old Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Dear old Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Let's have a listen. Oh, before we do that, I haven't put a speed here. It's a bit of a sad song, so I'm going to slow it down to 100. And it's moderato. It's not that fast, but it's not that slow either. And I'm going to call my tune The Fall. Okay. The Fall. Okay, here we go. There we go. So there is my my own chorus. Now, just to make it sound more expressive, I like to add dynamics into my playing, into the song, so that we know which sections are loud and which sections are soft. So if you don't have this sidebar, go to View and Palettes. That will open up this bar and you'll find dynamics under there. You've got, you know, various different dynamics. I want to start this song loudly, so I'm going to put an F right there. Make sure it's not in the way of the text. There we go. And the second line, it's the same thing, but I don't want to do it exactly the same way. It gets a bit boring like that, so I'm going to turn it down to an MP. Okay, let's move that over here. So loud, then soft. This is falling, so I might add a diminuendo, getting softer. We'll start with an MF. And then we will grab a line, which is a diminuendo line, getting our music softer. Let's put it right in the middle if we can. There we go. So this music is getting softer. And the last line, I'm going to start it off really quietly. And then crank it up at the end. So that when they say such a fool, it's going to be loud. There we go. Okay, so now my piece has dynamics. Once again, when you're submitting it, we've gone through the submission process, but make sure you do save your work with your name on it. Task 2, Mr. Sham, HZ. Put your class in there as well, and export it as a PDF while you're at it. Okay, there we go. So then, task 2, submit those 2 files when you're done. Okay? Alright, all the best with it then. See ya.